The Israeli Attorney General has rejected Prime Minister Netanyahu's request to delay his testimony in a high-stakes corruption trial. Netanyahu is facing charges of bribery, fraud and breach of trust, accusations that could have serious legal and political consequences. In addition to his ongoing corruption trial, Netanyahu is now facing a new crisis involving allegations of leaking classified military information from his office. As questions loom over his leadership, we'll examine the implications of both the corruption case and the military leak crisis, and how these challenges are threatening to Netanyahu and the stability of his government. I'm Karim Hatem and welcome to Think Tank.
Our world is becoming unhinged.
According to the Times of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu is mulling over the possibility of setting up an alternate special committee to probe the failures of October 7, 2023, so as to ward off the establishment of a state commission of inquiry. The paper reported that Netanyahu is currently discussing the possibility with officials in the Prime Minister's office and members of his ruling Likud party, with the goal of having the proposal advanced as a private member's bill in the Knesset. The reported proposal, which would apparently be designed to replace a state commission, Israel's highest level of inquiry, was rejected by opposition leaders as a ploy. The report quoted former War Cabinet Minister Benny Gantz as saying, "The worst disaster we've faced since Israel's founding cannot end with a window dressing committee and not any other format that seeks to evade responsibility." In the past few weeks, Netanyahu's office has seen numerous scandals, adding to the already long list of corruption and criminal charges.
Scandals and accusations continue to plague Netanyahu's office. The latest of these accusations relates to the involvement of the head of Netanyahu's office, Taki Priverman, in the blackmailing of a high-ranking officer in the Israeli army. The scandal could explain how the office extracted sensitive documents about the officer. According to Israeli media reports, the aim of the blackmail operation was to access the minutes of 4 council meetings from the first days of the Gaza war, which were kept in the military secretariat in order to change them, then falsify them and pass them on to the media. This comes after the 2 recent cases that revealed the involvement of Netanyahu's office in leaking military documents to the foreign press with the aim of misleading public opinion on the prisoner exchange deal. The Israeli Channel 12 said in a recent report that the matters that occurred in Netanyahu's office are being investigated and touch on issues that should be at the center of attention of the official investigation committee, which has not yet been formed. Ultimately, Netanyahu must face up to these political storms in order to continue in his endless genocidal war, so as to avoid a humiliating end to his political career that could see him end his life behind bars.
For more analysis regarding the internal crisis and the leak scandal facing Netanyahu, joining us now is Mr. Khalid Nassif, an Israeli affairs expert. Welcome. Now, in light of the legal troubles that Netanyahu is facing, including the leak allegations and also the rejection of his request to delay his testimony in the upcoming trial, how can all this impact the Israeli government right now?
Good evening, first of all. I think the legal application that Netanyahu facing now is starting since 3 years, not now, but over the period from that time until now, he had success to delay it from time to time. But the thing or the legal thing that happened in the last year, because the leaks become clear to the media now and become reported from the Israeli media to the international media, he is facing a serious obligation, but he have to act against it politically through the changes that he made in the Israeli government to cover himself or to cover himself by political action, political decision, to not appear or to not be in the investigation committee or in the court till now. That's lead us to analyze the situation inside the government, which is now become an political, not follow the legal application in Israel, and not follow the what we call it the deep government decision that had made starting from the High Court, and that's also impact the Israeli government to become like a dictatorship government through these changes, these political changes. يعني the first indicator that we can follow is the political decision to change and to appoint the judges of the High Court in Israel.
Do you think
From
that can
there,
also impact the street? Now, we've been seeing footage right now on the protests and demonstrations against Netanyahu and against his government, whether it was a strategy taken by this government or against Netanyahu and his accusations. Do you think it's going to impact these protests and these demonstrations, and do you think this could impact Netanyahu himself and his political career?
until now, these actions not very strong to impact the government. Until now, it's a kind of movement that happened against the government and against Netanyahu himself and against the political decision that they make it through the government, but not in that deep that will affect the government legally or politically, which is because I think because the situation that Israel faces now through the war, the genocide, the international legal application by international court or by international crime court or other obligation in around the world, but so far until now it's not a very strong movement or demonstration that will impact the government, because in the last 3 years he succeeded as Netanyahu as a prime minister, he succeeded to have this unity around him by appointing the ministers who follow his idea and who could cover him by the decisions.
All right. Joining us also from Jenin is Major General Samir Abhara, the strategic affairs expert. Welcome to the program. Now, in light of the legal issues that Netanyahu is now facing, what kind of impact can this have with his relationship to the military leadership in particular?
Could we please repeat the question?
Major General, can you hear me now? All right, let me repeat the question. In light of Netanyahu's legal issues right now, what kind of impact can it have on his relationship with the military and its leadership?
In fact, right now Netanyahu is facing a legal predicament in Israel. Netanyahu is convicted of a lot of crimes and is facing a lot of accusations that range from leaking classified documents to external media, as well the attempt to rob some military documents. In fact, it seems that the entourage of Netanyahu are all involved. There is a lot of turbulence in the political arena of Israel regarding that or because of that. And right now, Israeli jurisdictions are calling on Netanyahu to come and stand before prosecution. But in fact, he asked for the postponing of his stance before the prosecution. But right now he's facing a predicament in Israel. And right now it seems there is two currents in Israel. The legal advisor insists that Netanyahu attends these interrogation sessions. But right now it seems that Netanyahu is just doing whatever serves his personal interests. And in fact, this pattern of behavior demonstrated by Netanyahu is why he right now is caught in a lot of issues inside Israel.
Now, obviously, Netanyahu has been accused of corruption since many years, perhaps particularly since 2016. Major General, could the leak of classified documents add to his accusations and to the mistrust, perhaps, between him and the military leadership? Or can it create some sort of new fragment in light of him also changing the Minister of Defense?
Yes, of course. The Israeli Minister of Defense was dismissed. In fact, there are a lot of criminals and witnesses that disclosed these facts. In fact, the exchange of hostages agreement documents got leaked, and the leaked documents prove that Netanyahu withdrew from this agreement, and that means that he didn't want to restore his own hostages. This is putting Netanyahu in such a predicament in front of the Israeli community. And right now, it seems that the Israeli community sees how Netanyahu wishes to perpetuate the war and is not at all interested in any kind of settlement. And this is upsetting the Israeli society significantly. And right now, Netanyahu has one of two options: whether to continue serving his own personal interests or to put the state before his own personal interests. These are the discussions that are now circulating in the arenas of the Israeli government and in all the contexts regarding different jurisdictions in Israel.
All right, before we continue, let's take a look at this infographic about the cases and the trials that we are talking about facing the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu. Again, we are joined by Mr. Khalid Nassif, Israeli affairs expert. He is joining us from Ramallah, and from Jenin we are joined by Major General Samir Abraha, strategic affairs expert. Thank you both for joining us again in Think Tank on Qnews. Now, Mr. Nassif, when we are looking at the cases and the accusations of Netanyahu in the previous infograph, now we've seen exploiting his position for personal gains, obviously. However, I want to focus on the one that can actually impact his relationship with government members and ministers right now in light of what's going on in the region, the Gaza war and the Lebanon war.
I believe that the government now is following Netanyahu himself as a leader, and they have decided to make kind of immunity for him against the High Court and against the legal implication against him, the cases. War, even in Gaza or
So you don't think it's going to have any kind of impact on his relationship with ministers in the government?
I don't believe, because most of the ministers in the government, they not having the same cases, but they have the cases before they become the ministers, or when they are now. They are, most of them, I believe, they are waiting for an investigation in the future. Because of that, I think this government is totally starting from Netanyahu to most of the ministers that they are in this government will face the same, not the same accusation, but the same investigation according to their act in this period.
Major General Abhara, now, how can these accusations and the legal or the classified documents that have been leaked can actually affect Israel's stance internationally? Because we've been seeing positions right now internationally supporting Israel. Some are supporting Israel and some are condemning Israel for what it's doing in Gaza and what it's doing in Lebanon. Do you think any kind of shift can happen in light of these accusations, and specifically the military classified documents leak?
$1 million question now. The important thing that, first of all, this accusation must be affecting the Israeli society in the first, representing by Knesset as a parliament, also the High Court, even the military or the security apparatus. But until now, with the movement that he do it with Gallant as a Minister of Defense, he can he succeed to control this institution until nobody knows. But the question how the international community will change or will act with this accusation, that's a big what. I believe no one in the international community will deal with that, will fly with that until its effect.
All right. Let me ask Major General Samir Abraha here. Major General, now, do you think the leak of classified documents can affect Israel's credibility and the military's credibility, especially when we're talking about Israel's partners and supporters? Can any kind of shift happen in light of these accusations and in light of these leaks?
By this. However, documents have been robbed from the military archive, and there are some military officers that are accused of leaking these documents to some officers or some officials working in the office of Netanyahu. And after that, in fact, these documents got leaked outside of the office of Netanyahu and got disseminated to external agencies. It seems that Netanyahu, in fact, has a lot of discourse between himself and the military system of Israel. And he was plotting for the dismissal of the Minister of Defense and other ministers, in fact. Who doesn't know anything about military affairs, but he wants him because he's part of his entourage.
Major General, a last question. If Netanyahu was to step down due to the legal issues, what kind of replacement can we expect in light of the rejection of his request to postpone or delay his testimony?
I think we can't really project what is going to happen. And I don't know whether the postponing of his testimony is going to lead him to be ousted from the position of the Israeli Prime Minister. I think that this is all regulated by their internal laws and regulations.
All right, Mr. Nasser, finally, what impact do you think all this can have on security issues when it comes to the region, specifically when we're talking about Israel's strategy towards Gaza and Lebanon?
I believe until now there is no chance so far that will have an impact in that, because as it is an internal case that have to be dealt by Israeli law so far, and that's a kind of power clashing clash of power between the judiciary and the government, and so far, where it's will go and what the final decision or the final act, but that will not impact the international or the action of Israel in the region, because that's a different thing. When you are speaking about the war and the thing that Israel done to the region, and you compromise it, or you weight it with the internal thing, that will not affect, my opinion. Following your previous question to our general, until now there is no replacement for Netanyahu in Israel. Even if it succeed to take him down, but until now, until this moment, there is no any other replacement for Netanyahu.
Right.
In any way, the other leaders in Israel, they are not powerful to be an prime minister so far. But,
right. So there's no actual opposition to Netanyahu currently. Thank you very much. That was Mr. Khalid Nassif, an Israeli affairs expert from Ramallah. And also thank you to Major General Samir Abhar, a strategic affairs expert from Jenin. Thank you both for your insights. And that was today's episode from Think Tank. Thank you very much for watching us. Stay tuned for more on Q News. I am Karim Hatem. Good night.